Well, again, I'm back with another JJK chapter review, and today we'll just be going over the newest chapter of JJK. If you like these chapter review type of videos, and I know YouTube does, please remember to like and subscribe, and have a nice day. So, the name of the chapter is called Direct Negotiations, and it starts off with Sukuna saying that he is the fallen, and then he immediately cuts back to Yuji on the outside world. What I think this could mean is just that he basically just tells Yuji that he is the fallen one to stop any further elaboration on who the fallen one is and why he's called the fallen one, right? For example, if you ask a question about who someone is and then the person just comes in to you in private and says it was you, you're like, it's him, right? It will stop you from asking any further questions. So I think what Sukuna is trying to do here is stopping any more elaboration onto his backstory, but we know that we'll eventually get a reveal on it, hence why JJK is the best new gem. But yeah, Yuji then goes on to try and signal to Megami about how he is the fallen one, right? Using funny sign language. They changed his name back to the fallen one instead of the disgraced one. I really like the fallen one name. Or, I mean, the fallen one name sounds cooler, but I think the disgraced one should fit with a like it would be a better parallel to Gojo than the fallen one. Or, I mean, both of them are parallels to Gojo in some sense, so it doesn't really matter anyway. But yeah, he then goes on to try and signal to Megami using sign language that he's the fallen is inside of him. Like, yeah, he tries to signal it to Megami. Megami sounds kind of confused, right? And then he finally figures out that like Yuji is the fallen one, right? Yuji is prepared. Like, I was shocked by this. Yuji is actually prepared to die to save Megami's sister, right? I thought he'd actually because of his cog mentality, I thought he'd like show some resistance and not try to say anything or ask Sukuna for some elaboration. But it turns out that he isn't doing any of this, right? And he's just basically giving himself up for the greater good, right? Because he's already died before. Like, death isn't something he fears. Yeah. But then Megumi then doesn't want his sister to die because he wants to keep Yuji alive. He's basically solved his dilemma. He doesn't want Yuji to die, right? He's like, oh yeah, we've ran into a new problem, but right now the biggest issue is Itadori, right? And yeah, in fact, even Yuji makes like says himself that Sukuna went through all the trouble to keep his mouth shut, right? So like this should just be foreshadowing because like Sukuna does has a past that he doesn't want people to know about, right? Hence why you could link back to his immense knowledge on Jujutsu. Again, I mean, I'm just going to keep going on with this theory about how like Sukuna gave the world Jujutsu. It sounds a bit far fetched, but I think it should make sense through the Sukuna is described as a demon, and then the people who remove cursed energy or things who stop cursed energy, right? They are described as angels or holy beings, right? Hence why Sukuna's like even his domain expansion is called Malevolent Shrine, right? So yeah, it's literally just described to be like a warped version of something that used to be holy, right? But yeah, Yuji says he will gladly die, and when he dies, like how more than half of Suguna's fingers will appear. So he's basically confident that Gojo could take down the five fingers Sukuna. But I mean, everyone sort of should have known this. But however, right, we don't know. Like, if Yuji died, we don't know if there would be another vessel who's like capable of taking on Sukuna's fingers without getting taken over, right, or turning into a finger bearer, right? So we don't know all of that stuff. So I think like even if he chose to die, then yeah, even if he chose to die, that'd be kind of odd. And then the angel makes a statement about how there are an astonishing number of people entering the colony right now, right? And then because I think she has some sort of communication with Kugane, I don't really know, But yeah, there are loads of people entering the colony. Then we cut back to the goat himself, Kenjaku, talking to America, right? Or the American president, talk to them about how what jujutsu sorcerers are. He gives them the whole rundown on how the Shibuya incident went, right? And basically, I think his whole goal is just to perform terrorism and turn each of the countries against each other, because each of the countries will then learn how to use jujutsu sorcery, right? And then that could lead to sort of a world war. The culling games, I think it isn't for the actual fights, hence why we don't see very like much people dying. I think the culling games is basically just building allies, right, and just displaying character strengths, so that then for the actual second walk of the series, right, we would then see that's when the series would come to its climax, right? But what I think is needed for what I think is needed for Jujutsu Kaisen right now is for Yuji to go on a training arc, right? Because I don't think Yuji is strong enough to actually go and face all of the future threats that will be happening within Jujutsu Kaisen. Because Megumi is a prodigy, so he kind of like evolves passively, but Yuji doesn't have that same type of potential. So I think Yuji needs to train to try and harness Sukuna's curse technique, right? Or he should just continue to try and build his immense physical stats and train his cursed energy more, right? So that he's able to hang with these type of people, right? If maybe Yuji will be able to use Sukuna's domain soon, I don't know. Or maybe Sukuna will lend Yuji's aid like an Naruto and Kurama type situation. But that would be pretty sick, but I don't think it actually fits with Sukuna's character very much, right? But yeah, what happens is basically he explains Jujutsu and how cursed energy is formed to the Americans, right? The Americans basically they don't believe him. We see Urame is there too. She's basically just like giving them drinks, being Urame, all of that stuff, right? Just talking to all of the Jujutsu sorcerers. He gives the president, right? One of those special glasses that Maki used to wear to like allow him to see curses, right? He then sees all of the curses that supposedly Kenjaku should have summoned, right? Just for display, right? So he sees all of them and then he gains all of the information. He then makes an interesting statement about how like Gojo should be able to power a whole country, but this guy called Cyrus Vile states that, oh yeah, this is a gold mine. If we miss out, we'll likely fall behind the rest of the world, implying that like Jujutsu sorcery is basically just like something that gives Japan an edge over all of the other countries, right? So yeah, that's basically just them preparing for war. So it's again build up for a war, right? It's like tension is rising. I like how Kishimoto is doing this from like a writing perspective, right? But what I need is like from a strength perspective, I need Yuji to evolve, right? Because right now Yuji's on the mid end of special grade. I think because he has like a potential that should allow him to become stronger than Gojo, I think he should be able to should like try to harness that potential, because we've seen what he can do when he tries to harness it, when he releases 120% of his potential against Mahito, right? So we see the kind of strength he can gain, right? So it should make sense for like Yuji to at least try and harness this thing whenever he's fighting in the war, right? But who knows? Because we just see Yuji depicted as a monster at the start of Shibuya, right? So yeah. Um Kenjaku is basically talking to the president, right? Describes Mekamaru to these people, and then all of them like gain information about all of Shibuya, right? And then it's like, oh yeah, petroleum and natural gases are what we call fossil fuels. Wind, blah 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 blah. He said, what's his name? He said the cursed energy can replace all of them, right? Basically, what Kenjaku is asking them is to basically try and kidnap Jujutsu sorcerers, right? So that they can use them to extract resources using negative emotions. I don't see why they wouldn't just like try and harness it themselves, because they too create negative emotions. How so like unless jujutsu is something that is Japan specific, I don't know. Because obviously people all around the world might have like In fact, yeah, there might be American Jujutsu sorcerers that we just don't know about yet. Since negative emotions equals cursed energy, right? There might be a secret society of American Jujutsu sorcerers. We'll never know. But I like how Kenjaku is like going into different countries and doing these things, right? The mere fact that he's able to like reach these people, right? And even talk to them, that is pretty impressive because not everyone can go up to the president and start talking to them so casually, right? Without actually any shown appointment. So we see what Kenjaku is doing in the background, right? And then again, they make the statement about how there's a good chance that Gojo could power a whole country by himself, right? Gojo obviously this like provides new scaling for the verse because like Ryu has higher cost energy output than Gojo, right? Um, that would mean that he's like able to output more than country levels of AP into his attacks, right? Which upscales the verse and everyone who can tank his attacks, which would include people like Yuta, already putting the verse like country level, right? So yeah, verse upscale, right? Puts them above Demon Slayer and that. You know how it is. But yeah, what's his name? The president then realizes what Kenjaku is trying to do. He's saying, "Are you saying that we should kidnap Japanese civilians as samples for experiments using my authority?" And like he basically finally like realizes what Kenjaku's plan is, and the caption even calls it a horrifying proposal, right? Implying that implying that the effect of this would be very horrifying to our main cast. But, I might be wrong. All of this I'm saying might be complete waffle. If you like these type of videos, please remember to like and subscribe. And have a nice day, my good children. This has been Glitch, and I'm out.